In this video, I'm going to show you how to export markers in Reaper in the Scripture app format. So let's get started. Now we're using the Scripture app format as our standard, and a lot of other products can use this format. So you see, we want time in seconds. This is where the marker is, or the Q marker. And then this is going to be the same number. And then we want the verse number. And so down here we have it in seconds. And then here, that is for verse 18. So that is our goal. So it's seconds, tab, and then the verse number. So here we have our John, the first three chapters, 1, 2, and 3. And we want to export our markers. So you can come over here, right-click there, and then Export Region Markers. You go here, and the dialog box comes up, and you can name it whatever you want. You have to manually name it, so I want to do Chapter 2, but we're going to see that there's a problem here. So when I change that to 2, it's a CSV also, and the Scripture app wants a TXT file. So I hit Save, and I'll show you what the format looks like. So when you save it this way, it comes out and it has this header that Scripture app doesn't want. It has this marker number that they don't want. It does have the name, but it's in the wrong location. It has the time, and we have the times in hour, minute, seconds, and we want in seconds. And then we have these extra commas. So the problem is with this is that it's an hour, minute, seconds, and I can solve that really quick. Come back to here, and then you click on your time, and then you change this to seconds. And now when you export it, I'm going to right click on there, export, markers, John. I come here, and I'm just going to overwrite that. I say yes. So it cleaned it up a little bit. It's better, but this is chapter 1. If we wanted chapter 2, see, chapter 2 starts down here. So it's doing all the chapters. So if you're doing one chapter per project, this will work for you. But if you're doing all the chapters in one project file, this won't work for you. So here we don't want this. Okay, we do want these verse. And then here's the time in seconds. But it doesn't have it, and it doesn't have it in with the tabs, and it's not in a TXT. So my coworkers are brilliant, have come up with how to export it correctly. So we're going to use a different method to export it. We're not going to use the export from over here, but we're going to use an action. It's a SWS action. So I'll go here and go show. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to type in marker format. Okay, and down here you'll see SWS exported marker list format. And I'll have that in the description below. But when you double click on that, it brings up this box. Now it's larger and you can read it. This dialog box comes up and it says export marker list format string. And so at the very beginning, you have to tell it what you want it to export. If you put an A at the very beginning here, export the region and markers. If you put a R there, you're going to export the region. And if you put an M, it will just do the markers. And that's what we want. It's the markers. So we want the markers. And then we want the absolute time in the project ruler format. So that's what it's saying, the project ruler format. So if you have it in hour, minute, seconds, it'll do that. So you need to change your time from hours, minutes, seconds to seconds. So we'll put the time there. Then I'll have a tab. Then I'll put the time again, the exact same time. Then we have a tab. And then we want the description, which is the verse number. But we have an issue when we try to do that. And of course, my brilliant coworkers came up with this. So we put in an M, then we put in a P, and then you go to enter a tab. And it jumps down to here. We want to enter a tab. And so how do we do that? And so I'll show you what they came up with. So you come to a text editor, it could be a Word doc or whatever. You put in the M, P, then you enter the tab, then you put a P, then you do another tab, and then you put the D. And if you copy and paste this, we come back to here. Let me delete that. And then I paste it, Control V, and it puts it in how you want it. It will have the MP tab, P tab, and so it's working. So thanks for my coworkers for this. So now when you want to export it, you go to Action, and you can make a shortcut key for it, but you say Export Marker. Okay, here it is right here. The SWS Export Formatted Marker List to File, and I'll have that in the description below. You double click on it, and it'll bring up this box, and here I'm in my markers folder, and I want to export. I'll just go ahead and overwrite this right here, and I say save, and I want to replace it, and then it saved it. So now we're going to show you what it looks like. So now we're in our markers in John, and here's our John chapter 3. You double click on it, bring it up. Oh, but there's an issue. For some reason, when we do it this way, it does an extra return, and I'll show you how to take those out. If you're doing a chapter per file, that's no problem. It would just be that chapter. But for us here, see, it did chapter 1, chapter 2. It does all the chapters. And I have a custom action to fix that. So the custom action is you go up to Actions, Show Actions, and then you come down here to Export Markers. And here they all are, and it's in the notes down below if you can't read it here. Markers, renumber all markers in timeline order. If you add a marker, so say that you put in, you missed 19 and then you put in 20, and then you went in 19, it would be down here. It would be down lower. But when you do this, it will put it in sequential order according to the timeline, not when you entered it in. So that's important. Then we change the view time units for ruler into seconds because we want it in seconds. So remember that P, it's going to do it in whatever the time the ruler is. Then we time select crop project to time selection. And I'll show you what it does. If we click on chapter 2, it will just take only chapter 2. It'll get rid of all the chapters in front of it and get rid of all the chapters behind it. Then here is the SWS Export Format Marker List to File. That's what we just did. So then you go ahead and you enter in the verse number, and then you edit undo. And then these are, kind of say, bonuses. I take it, transport, go to the end of project. In other words, I take this thing right here, and I send it to the end of the project, just because I don't want to have to fish for it later on. Then I set the ripple editing to all tracks. I just turn that on. For some reason, if I turn it off, I want it on all the time. Track unbypass FX on all tracks. So in other words, I turn on all the effects because typically I'm doing this at the end and I'm resetting everything back for me to record the next chapter. Then here I say view, time unit rulers, hour, minute, seconds. So here we don't have to worry because we're turning it to seconds before we're exporting it, and then we put it back to how we want to use it, and then I save the project. So let's see how that works. So when I double click here, and then when I do my custom action, that will all of a sudden will select only chapter 2, jam it to the left so it's going to be the right time, and then when I export it, I'm going to replace that there, and I'll show you what it looks like. So here it is, and this is only chapter 2. You can see it has the end down here, and we'll have to clean this up, but it's real simple how to do that. Okay, I have my markers here, and I don't do this until the very end when I do in post-production, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to clean it up. So I'm coming into here, and I'm coming into John 3, and it has the extra return. And I'm using just Notepad++, okay, just other notepads probably won't do this, but I use Notepad++. And I go up here, and I go Control F for find. And what I want to do is find there's a return, there's extra return. There's 2 returns here, and then there's a return here. So I'm going to take one of those out. So the code for that is \R. We want to take out 2 returns, and we want to place it with only 1 \Rs, and then you want it to be extended. And then you're going to say replace all. And it took all those extra returns out. And in post-production, I'll show you how to do all your files all in one shot. So that's how you export markers. It might seem a little intimidating, but once you set up your custom action, it's real simple, and really it's a no-brainer after you get it all set up. Please subscribe, like, and share this video, and check out these other videos of mine.